Yo, whoa, hold on. There we go. Hey, everybody, what's good? What's good? It's Jeremy Majors here with Majors Academy Dog Training out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And we are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook. So get your questions in. Uh, Make sure that you know that you can ask any question you like. Uh, I don't give a crap if it's about, we're going to start talking about dogs, but we're also going to start talking about life too, because so much of it is tied together, married, and I just want to know. Um, well, I just don't. I don't want to know. I know that again, if you are raising a dog, a puppy, a rescue dog, there are going to be things that you that you can put forth to your, I guess, regular life, for lack of a better term, that will make sense. And So I like talking life because again, when I'm dog training in that, and when I'm thinking about how to create really good results, there's a side of me that wants to question people's life and their choices and their habits, and that all of that has to do with the environment they create with for their dog and family. I was asked a question about, so perfect example. There's this family that I was helping that had young a young daughter, and they couldn't walk their dogs past a certain point in the walk because the the child would cry, scream, and want to go back in. And for the first times, I got asked what I would do in that situation. And I don't work with children per se. It's sort of an additive. I don't necessarily work with children, but you guys know me. If you guys know me, you know that I'm very passionate about children. Um, I actually have worked with them on a coaching level. Um, and I am very passionate again about, about raising children. So, I got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I just told them what I would do with my 2-year-old and 4-year-old. And this is what it was. Um, you have to deeply, deeply, deeply know your children in order to make hard decisions. You have to deeply know why they are putting up a fit. And the same thing with dogs. If they're if you know that their needs are met, if you know that their needs are fulfilled, and if they're crying because out of convenience, which just means they want to stay in comfort, um, then you know that you could probably push past their initial protest to do something they don't want to do. Okay. Let me go ahead and, like I say, let me go ahead and, hey, Pat. Hey, Jason. What up, Elias? Ask me anything y'all like. I mean, for real. Um, yeah, if you guys, if you guys intimately know your children, just like you intimately know your dog, you can make the best decisions for them. And that includes helping them grow past their insecurities, grow past their fears, grow past um, something that would seem challenging to them. You know when to push and you know when to not push because you know them intimately. And that is the art of raising children and raising dogs. Get to know them. You can't be you can't be you can't be a decision maker for your children and dogs if you don't know them. That's unfair. Um and that's what I think the positive only side is missing. They don't they don't take into account that relationships are so individual that you there's no definitive uh there's no definitive textbook that you can put forth. The relationship, if the relationship is balanced, there's no one way to get there. There are people with balanced dogs that know nothing about dog training. Hell, I would say you almost are better off not knowing about dog training, because when you start to learn about dog training, it's like a circle. You start off where you probably should stay, and then you go through this journey of, I'm going to try this. Oh, that didn't work. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. I'm going to listen to this person. I'm going to listen to this person. I'm going to listen to this person. I'm going to go to this seminar. I'm going to go to this seminar. I'm going to go to this trainer. I'm going to go to this trainer. And then you're going to circle back to saying, I should have just stuck with my instincts. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you. Good evening, Angela. Um, yeah. So, guys, when it comes to achieving balance in our animals and on our dogs, man, it's really about looking inwards instead of outwards for all these solutions. It's really about looking inwards. I mean, I have people who come to me, and if their dog is out of control, they don't really know who the hell the dog is. They don't know who their dog is. Hey, Crystal. Um, yeah, they don't even know who their dog. I know who their dog is, because you don't get to know a dog, and you don't even get to know a person, y'all, if they're not faced with boundaries. We say, as people, adversity builds character, right? Well, it's similar to dogs, right? If we're allowing a dog to do what they want, that's not necessarily who they are. You're not necessarily getting to know who they are. You get to know who they are when you put up boundaries. Because when an aggressive dog comes to me, I have to get to know who they are. And one of the questions is, are you safe for society? Let's see. And how do I find that out? I find that out by putting up boundaries and seeing if the dog can respect those boundaries. But in doing so, I get to know exactly who that dog is. There's a weird thing going on with people, dogs, or just the perception of what life is about. Everyone's so stuck on happiness as the priority. And when you're focused on that, you tend to allow things to go on that shouldn't go on for the sake of happiness because you're focused on happiness. Where what you should be focused on is teaching, is balance, is convenience. Don't be afraid to be selfish with your animals, y'all. They're not going to hate you less. And as a matter of fact, they may respect you more. Cannot focus on, we'll do whatever it takes to make the dog happy. Dogs can be assholes. And if you have a problem with that statement, then no wonder your dog acts like an asshole. Dogs, nature is cutthroat. They don't care about you. They're focused on survival. They're not focused on necessarily happiness. Their priority is survival. There are dogs who kill people. There are dogs who kill children. And you could be playing ball with them the next day. They don't care. Guys, we need to bring balance to the conversation when it comes to dogs. You can love dogs, but you need to know who they are. They're still wolves, just a diluted version of a wolf. And again, I'm not trying to take away from the special relationship that you can build with your dog. But we have to keep things in perspective. They're dogs. They're animals. They cannot think objectively. You cannot tell an animal what not to do, and they don't go do it. They're going to go do it, and either they experience something that makes them go, I'm going to do it again, or either they experience something that makes them go, I don't want to do that again. So keep those things in mind, guys. I mean, it's Facebook, social media really just shines light on the positive side of the relationship with your dog. And don't get caught up in thinking that you can just add dogs to your household and it not be stressful. I want people to be aware that you are responsible for a living, breathing, needy thing. Keep that in mind before you decide to add another and another. If you're basing your decisions on how you feel instead of listening or being aware of how it's going to affect you on a logical sense, then you may need to rethink some things. All right. Okay, that's enough of that. Cheers to anyone else who's drinking with me. I appreciate y'all. Let's get to some questions. I got a little soundboard here that I'm going to be playing with, and if one of y'all asks me some crazy stuff, then you're going to see it and you're going to hear it. All right. Let's get to some questions. Hey. Okay, first off, Jason says, "How is training going with Gabe?" Uh, it is very obvious that Gabe misses home. I think you guys had mentioned that he is attached to. I think his name is. Oh, it's Jason. Yeah, Gabe is attached to Jason. I think he misses Jason, and he's kind of, as a result, taking things in at the moment, just kind of observing things. I did get a good tail wag this morning and today throughout the day. So he's getting to the point where he's feeling comfortable. You know what I mean? Um, he met my dogs today and yesterday and did fine with them. I had him out with my Great Dane. I can't have him out with my Golden Retriever at the moment because she's in heat. And not he can't get her pregnant, but there's still tension between males if I have two males in the yard. So don't you worry, Jason and wife. We will cover the things that we need to cover. As soon as a dog usually gets comfortable, they start showing, who they are, and if they start showing behaviors that worked for them, which is the reason why we're here. So yeah, that's all I got for Gabe for now. It's still early on, you know what I'm saying? Next week I'll give you a better diagnosis. All right? Hey, shout out to y'all too though, man. You guys are showing true dedication. You guys have been to a couple of pack walks prior to coming into training. You guys are dedicated to this dog, and this freaking dog is an awesome tracker, deer tracker, blood tracker, and I just love that. So I'm gonna do my best to make sure all those issues are covered because I love you guys' dedication to him. He's an awesome dog, and you guys are awesome parents, and I appreciate that. All right, next question. All right, Pat says, sometimes Rocky will come over to me when I'm on the couch or kitchen chair and drape himself across my lap. I tell him off, and it's as frequent as it was, but trying to understand why he does this. Is his a holdover behavior from being puppy, or is it something else? He's just trying to dominate you, baby. I mean, that's what it is. And listen, I would take control over it. I wouldn't let him choose to do it. I would, if you like it, then I would make him ask for it or call him up to do it. But if he just assumes he can do it, then that may be, a problem. You know what I mean? So, yeah, me personally wouldn't like it. It may be endearing at first, but if it's something that he does and he just does on his own free will all the time, or not all the time, but when he wants, then you need to check that. Okay. All right. Thank you for your question.
There is a smell. It smells like a shit.
I told you I was going to play with some sounds. All right. So, next question. Hey, all of you guys who are watching, feel free to ask as many questions as you like. We're going to get to these Facebook questions real quick so that I can go on Instagram Live. But you guys who are watching, you guys are the priority. Feel free to ask as many questions as you like, and know that your question is going to help other people's that may have the similar or same questions. Okay, so feel free to ask. No question is a dumb question. Okay, let's get some questions going. All right, here we go. Bobbit Little says, I have a 10-year-old Chihuahua that thinks he has to mark everything. He has even started peeing on pillows on the bed. Wait a minute. I gotta put a sound effects to that.
Holy shnikes.
Yeah. Dog peeing on your bed. That's crazy. All right. Health wise, he's fine and he's the sweetest, lovable dog, but my husband's patient is really wearing thin. I have only caught him a couple of times when he was going to pee. I stopped him, but nothing is safe. If there happens to be a plastic bag, paper bag, coat hanging on the chair, kitchen table, legs, chair, etc., I've tried washable diapers, but he's always managed to get them off. So any suggestions would help. Okay, so and it's not because he doesn't get out enough. I work from home and they're out really often. So it's an attitude thing, man. It's a marking thing. Any behavior, excuse me, any behavior that goes on and he doesn't give a crap about, then you have to make him give a crap about it. And don't let him on your bed. Obviously, help him lose some privileges too. Put him back in a crate for a week. But let him know that this is not acceptable at all. Do not let that dog pee in the household. That's very cocky, arrogant, egotistical behavior from a dog. And I know that may sound weird, strange, and whatever, but every freaking dog that I have ever had that has tried to pee on stupid crap comes from a place of insecurity, comes from a place of like I say, uh being cocky. Um Coming from a place that they have to prove themselves. So it's bull crap. And you can get on to them about it. And again, any dog who pees in my house is going to lose privilege of having free roam of my house for an entire week, bro. Like, no, we're not doing this. You're not going to have free roam of the house and think you can mark up my house. That's crap. So that's what I would do. I would do two things: make it not worth it for him to do it, but also if he wants to go back to having to be crate trained for potty training, then that's what you got to do. He probably ain't going to be happy about it, but so what? You're not happy about him peeing on your bed pillow where you lay your head. He's being an overly dominant asshole. 100%. He's peeing on your most like intimate space. What? That's crazy. That truly is
Emotional.
well, that wasn't the right one, but that's crazy, y'all. Don't let a dog pee on your dang bed. All right. It's not as frequent as it was. I don't like it. He's too big. Yeah, he's too big. All right. Get him off of you. Okay. We got that going. All right. So frustrating. 5-month-old English cream golden. We walk almost a block. We come home, walk in the door, and she looks at me and pees. What the hell? So I would put the dog back in the crate or I'd leave the dog outside. Off leash walking promotes peeing better than on leash walking. Off leash walking, the dogs can smell more. There's more pronounced smell, and it's more likely that they'll want to mark their territory. especially if they're more dominant than not. But what I would do is I'd put the dog in the crate, man. If I don't see the dog pee or poop in the house, I mean outside, then we're gonna go back in the crate and we're gonna try another 15 minutes later. And again, if I don't visibly see you pee and poop, then you're not gonna have free roam of the house. Period. Um, because you're going to have to teach the dog a pattern of where to go. They'll go wherever you take them to and leave them to. But if they're allowed to do it when they're at home, then they're just going to continue to want to do it at home. So take that opportunity away by putting them in a crate or being able to watch them very closely and knowing that when they start to sniff and they're kind of pacing when they sniff, it's getting ready to come out. But thank you for your question, Kirsten. Okay, moving on. I'm about to go Instagram live here so that I can get some questions live on Instagram, if any. Yeah, there we go. All right. Those of you who just joined in, feel free to ask as many questions as you like. Any question is a good question, okay? And I'm here until 8 o'clock, so I got a good 30 minutes. Feel free to ask anything you like. And for those of you who don't know, let me just run down my resume right quick. Not a resume, but how long I've been doing it. My name is Jeremy Majors with Majors Academy Dog Training out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. I've been training dogs since 2006. It's the only job I've ever really had. I got a pit bull when I was young and in college, and I wanted to give them the best life ever. So I started working at a dog daycare. And around this time, dogs were, or Caesar Milan was really popular, and I just absolutely loved what he could do with dogs, not just on a technical level, but also, changing the dynamic at home and really tapping into who the dog was. So he's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, and he's the reason why I'm here. And yeah, shout out to Caesar Milan. All right, excuse me. Angela says, can dogs learn resource guarding from each other? Gabe's sister, Luna, now gets snippy with him if he goes by her bone or if he wants to come sit by us. And she is there too. And she is now trying to hump our male cat, which looks hilarious. But I assume she's trying to be dominant because she learned that from Gabe's wonderful influence. No. Resource guarding just has to do with, can I keep what I want? And if I think I can keep it, then I'm going to try and keep it. That's what resource guarding is. And every dog, no matter how good they are, you'll see a little bit of resource guarding. We are all selfish by nature. We have to be taught to share. There are some that would share quicker than others, and there are some who are going to be more stingy than others on a natural level. Given that Gabe is a hound, it helps him out in his job, in his work, in his breed, in his genetics to be selfish. It helps him out. He's a working dog. And not in a technical sense, like, you're not going to see it. He's obviously a sporting dog, right? But it's going to help him out in his task to be selfish. So, resource guarding is just being opportunistic. If I was a dog, I would be resource aggressive. If someone tried to reach for my food, it'd be a problem. If someone tried to put their hand in my excuse my language, if someone tried to put their hand in my food while I was eating, I go ape. You know what I'm saying? Someone was petting me while I was eating my food. I'd get irritable. So give a little grace on why it's happening. However, doesn't mean you should allow it. Doesn't mean that they get a pass for it. Doesn't mean that. So, yeah, resource guarding is very natural. There's levels to it. Working dogs are going to be more likely to want to possess something because it's their drive to get it. Working dogs, hunting dogs, sporting dogs, they have a drive to get to their prey a little bit more than a companion dog. So they're driven to get to something and then expected to act like a companion dog when they get it. And it's like, no, they like to possess. It's part of who they are. So anyway, again, that doesn't mean that they can't listen to what we want them to listen to. And I'm going to teach Gabe that. See how awesome they are? Look, both parents ask questions. You guys are rock stars. Okay. Elias says, how about a discussion on imprinting stages? Enter sound effect. Here we go. That was the wrong one. But imprinting stages. Man, that's a great question, man. It really is a question that only comes with true experience when it comes to raising a young puppy that is so impressionable. It depends on the type of puppy, the driven puppy or the non-interested puppy. You can't necessarily do a lot with a dog who just doesn't have a lot of drive. But you can certainly imprint some good things on a dog who does have drive, to a higher degree to the one that doesn't. The one that doesn't, you can still imprint some good stuff. But when you're talking about a working dog, it's not necessarily that difficult. They have a drive, right? They're driven to do what they're genetically designed to do. And now you just have to create the opportunity in a controlled environment to make it work with you. Make the dog realize that there's awesome things that happen if you work with me as well, right? So they're not going to necessarily be genetically designed to work with you. But if we can set up scenarios where they find it makes them feel good to work with you, then that's the best case scenario. Let's take upland dogs, for example. And that just means, let's just say, pheasant hunting dogs. You've got the German short hair pointer. You've got pointers and you've got flushers. Okay. So flushers are usually retrievers and pointers are usually German short hairs, long hairs, pointing griffons, spaniels, things of that nature, pointers, English pointers. So this is what I did with my puppy. When I brought my puppy home, I thought about what I could develop, what I can imprint that would reflect how she would act in the field. So how could I promote good habits that would pay off in the field? And obviously, one of them is come. Like, but for a retriever, they love to come. They love to retrieve. Um and so right away I wanted to imprint that when you hear this whistle, not only do you want to come, but you're going to love to come because I'm going to make it that I'm going to make it I'm going to make it awesome that you're coming. And then you have to keep it so special, which means you can't do it all the time because it becomes less special. But when you're out in the field and that dog really wants to come because its pack drive is so high. My golden retriever's pack drive is so high. She just loves people, which is part of what makes the dog a retriever. Um, when my dog decides to come, it's all good stuff. It's all excited. She's very happy to come to me. So I imprinted that at an early age that when you hear this whistle, it's going to be excitement that you necessarily don't see unless we're in this scenario. And in doing so, the dog really lights up when I do it because I keep it very specific to that area because I need her to do a job and I want her to want to do the job, enjoy the job, you know, versus the pointer. The pointer's not a retriever. You almost have to really, you almost have to really imprint the 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 pointer to come because boy, their obligation is the point. That's what makes them great. And getting them to come is harder than doing so with a retriever. So, okay, that was long-winded. Those of you who are watching, feel free to ask as many questions as you like. I'm here till 8 o'clock. No question is a dumb question. And I will answer all questions, okay? Okay.
What the dog doing?
All right. So, how do you correct him if you don't catch him at it? You can correct him if you don't catch him. And the reason I know that is pretty simple. When you come home, what's your dog going to do? He's going to feel ashamed if they tore up something, pissed on something, knowing that they shouldn't have done it. You can still show your displeasure for doing that because obviously he's still thinking about it. It's not an in the moment thing. They're still feeling bad about it because when you walked in the house, they're shy now. So that's my answer. Yes, you can correct them if they did it, no matter if you caught them in the act or not. Okay. Good question, Bobbitt. All right. Next question. Okay.
What the dog doing?
I am working with a blue nose. She just turned 2 and is being very destructive at home. Speaking to her owner, I found out she has a lack of exercise and a lack of release. She has walked but has no place to run or play hard. I've taught her to play with me using the tug, and she does victory laps in and outs upon request. However, her owner is not following through. I decided to try something else, a weight pulley with heavy chain. She loved it and actually ran with it about 30 minutes. Slept the whole night. Is that your whole question? It's some reason not letting me see the whole question. Um. Okay. So I'm hoping you're asking that. What is your question? Because for some reason it's cut off. The question's cut off, so it says the whole NIG and then dot 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 dot. Let me see. All right, hon. We'll come back to that, okay? Okay. All right, Cassie says, "How's Ollie? We miss him, but know how stubborn he can be. How can we prepare for getting him home?" Ollie came in with the inability to focus. He has reaffirmed the need of dogs to be able to focus when they don't want to. And let me explain what I mean by that. When I take Ollie on a walk, first of all, that first walk was crazy. I mean, he was doing everything he could to not walk. And that is very telling of what we really need to work on. We need to be able to share some real estate in his brain. We need to be able to purchase some real estate in his brain. Because at the moment, it's all about him and what he wants. And that will allow the behavior that you don't like to be to be free to to do or not to do. His behavior would be, it's okay for him to do it because his inability to focus on a simple task of walking. His nose goes to the ground way too often. He's like this, looking everywhere. I've got another dog that's like that. But we have to purchase real estate in his brain. We have to be able to get the dog to focus, because that is what creates clarity. Our walk today was awesome. He only hesitated maybe once or twice. And despite big trucks, cars, buses, whatever it may be, we have to get our dogs, give our dogs time and opportunity to focus. It's very good for them. And I'm not meaning focusing on me. But what I mean is, if a dog is just so reactive to the environment. Okay, let me go over here. I'm gonna go here. I'll go there. I do what I want on the walk. You're playing with a very dangerous mindset, because the dog is free to feel how he wants given the environment. The dog then becomes a slave to the environment, to be honest. The dog becomes a slave to the environment because everything or anything that happens, basically the dog is on its own. Dog has to you're putting a dog in a really crazy situation when you put the dog on leash and you have no dialogue with the dog. You have no dialogue with the dog and you put the dog on leash, so you're taking away their natural ability to deal with conflict, their preferred method to deal with conflict, because most dogs will avoid conflict or something they perceive as conflict or something that makes them uncomfortable. You're putting them in a really weird situation. And as a result, they have to be sort of neurotic. They have to be super aware of their surroundings because they don't feel safe. And so, as pet parents, I'm going to say this again. We're not here to make their life just happy. We're here to also educate. We're here to teach them. That is our job as their parent. We'll be friends when things are understood. But we got to teach you something first. If you're not dealing with things that happen very often, if you can't deal with those things, then we have to do what we have to do to make sure you can become comfortable with things that are going to happen. And what's going to happen? You're going to pass dogs. You're going to pass people. You're going to pass joggers. You're going to pass bikers. You're going to pass cars. You're going to pass loud trucks. You're going to pass, doesn't matter. If your dog is reactive to any of those things, you got work to do. Like, it's your obligation. You can't just say, oh, yeah, he's the kind of dog that gets it. No, that's not who he is. That's who he needs to be out of his anxiety. Because we don't know how to advocate for him. So, yeah, he came in with the inability to focus. And when you walk dogs on harnesses, you're just perpetuating that. But you think you're doing right by the dog because that's what everyone says to do, or that's what the internet tells you to do, or your vet, or other trainers. But it's not the right thing to do because we can't get focus from a harness. We're, we're basically trapping our dogs when we put them on a harness and a leash and expect them to behave. An on-leash dog is a problem. It's a it's a it's a really big deal. There's plenty of dogs who act different when they're off leash. They act great. They act civil. They're they're social. But when you put them on leash, a whole different dog. Why? Because we're not doing what we need to do to help them through that. And well, not if, everyone has to put their dog on leash. We might as well make them feel comfortable with us, but we are responsible for that.
Holy shnikes.
So, um, That's how Ollie's doing, man. We're gonna get him to become a lot calmer and trusting and trustworthy on a leash because I'm going to be there for him, saying, "Hey, you don't have to be so neurotic when you're on leash. Trust me. You can be cool, calm, and collected," which is a weight lifted off the dog's shoulder. So he's very smart, man. Very smart. Super charming. I really like him. All right. Thank you for your question. Another awesome owner. Shout out to you, Cassie. I like when the people check in on their dog. It shows me that you're really invested. We're going to make this happen. We're going to make it work. Okay. Susie says, I have a female Belgium Shepherd who was trained and who was a rescue and spayed. She is perfect and well trained. I also have a 9-month-old Shepherd from a breeder who's not neutered. I also have a 9-week-old German Shepherd female who is not spayed. The two puppies share a common father, different mothers. What advice do you have on spay and neuter? I want to do what's best for their development, but I also don't want pups. Okay, you're gonna need some help for this one. Hold on, here we go. All right, that's enough of that. My advice would be just to be responsible about knowing when to keep them separate or not. But spaying and neutering, I don't really care for. I think it does.
Emotional damage.
I think it does more damage than good. And yeah, be responsible for your dogs. There's plenty of people who can live with 2 males, 1 female, and make it work. You just got to learn how to separate, when to separate, how long to separate. And yeah, I think dogs should not be neutered. Oh, man. I say not at all, but if you must, it should be, in my opinion, you shouldn't spay until 5 when they are an adult. Yeah. Those are my thoughts. Let them have what they have. It's going to be beneficial for them mentally and physically growing up. And so this whole spay and neuter thing under a year is ridiculous. It can make dogs more aggressive, more fearful, more irritable. It can also affect their joints because the growth plates on most dogs don't close until they're 2 years old. Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. Even if you have to, separate your male and like give it, let someone else watch it while your females, are in heat. I think that's worth it. Any problems that keeping a dog intact brings is more worth it than spaying and neutering and experiencing the potential emotional damage that can happen. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on that. You guys know I don't. I've observed dogs who were spayed too early, neutered too early, versus not neutered or spayed at all, and so I'm going to err on the side of not doing it. All right, Susie. Appreciate your question, man. Appreciate you being a loyal listener, I guess. Hey. All right, those of you who just joined in live on Instagram, feel free to ask as many questions as you like, or any question. No question is a dumb question. And it is 8:00. I've got a few more questions to go through, but yeah. Elias says, "How do you do dog socials? How many dogs and how many peeps and possibly dressage whips? Dressage whips are a must. I would say you have to have a helper as well. I would limit it to 6 dogs at first, and then I would go to 10, and then go from there. The key is getting the dogs familiar with you and the other dogs. Then you can add more dogs because now you have a dialogue with the dogs that are there that are coming in. And I pretty much do it like Heather Beck or Jason Vesconi. Yeah, those are awesome, dude. They're great. You'll love them. All right. Yes, that's the biggest opportunity we had with Huxley. My dog Giddy, veteran dog, reactive guru, tends to be reactive from 0 to 100. I have several methods I use to interrupt that. I use a toy, tug. However, he's still in an elevated state. What do you do to bring that notch down a notch? I have recently used the transitional leash from Heather Beck. It has to be taught. So I'm redoing my leash pressure. What opinions do you have that I can add as a toolkit? Giddy for president. Enter sound clip here. Let's go.
Gotcha, bitch.
All right. Bro, I got to meet this dog. Bro. I mean, it's probably deeper than what any other trainer or something like that can suggest without knowing the dog. Bro, this dog is pretty difficult. I can already tell. Hey. So, yeah, I need to meet this dog. I need to see this dog. I need to feel this dog. I need to work with it, man. So, go ahead, get me out to San Diego, man, and we can do this thing. You know what I'm saying? I need to come soon. That's all I need to know. I need to come soon. All right. Cassie says, "Thanks, Jeremy. Loved when you talked about all of the conflicting information on the internet. We thought for so long that the harness was okay. Come to find out, it's just encourages pulling. Yes. So happy to have him help you. Have you help him through and educate us along the way. Let's book you a workshop. Let's do it, bro. I'm all down for it. Let's go. I need a vacation, man. For real, for real. Not only do harnesses encourage pulling, guys, harnesses encourage insecurity. It encourages a disconnect between you and your dog. It encourages that because they pull further and further away. As a dog gets older, the more times you walk them on a device, i.e. harness, that encourages them to pull, but makes them, more importantly, say, I have to fend for myself on this walk because I'm in a compromised situation here. I have nowhere to go. I cannot simply walk away from the pressures that the world is putting on me by many different ways. Dogs, like I say, I mentioned all of that stuff. But now you're keeping this dog from staying. What's up, Rich? Want to come say hi? Yep, that's Tina. Hey, we're talking about walking dogs on a harness.
What's that mean?
Yeah, exactly. Because we don't walk dogs on a harness. No, we don't do that. But when we tell Tina to come, does she come? Does she do what we say? That's right. And who do you like better, Tina or Oakley? Speaking to the mic. Which one you like better, Tina or Oakley?
Tina.
Why?
Because he's so fluffy.
She's fluffy?
Yeah.
You like when she's fluffy, hey?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you went pheasant hunting with us, didn't you?
Yeah.
With Tina?
Uh-huh.
Did she do good?
Uh-huh.
All right. All right. So Reggie's hanging out with us. This is Reggie, y'all. Say hi, Reggie.
Hi.
Okay. We are talking about okay, hold on. We got another question. No, this isn't a question. Pat says, thanks for helping with Rocky at the pack walk Saturday. He's adjusting to the prong collar and hasn't made a big difference. He's actually pulling less on his normal collar too. Love that transfer of knowledge that he's doing. Absolutely. Yeah, he was tough on the prong. Some dogs do not even give a crap about the prong collar, right? Unless it's in the right position. And then, so Pat went to our pack walk.
Mm-hmm.
You've been to our pack walks, right?
Mm-hmm.
What goes on at our pack walks?
Dogs.
And what do the dogs do?
We walk.
Yep, we walk them. And then there's a lot of dogs, right?
Yeah.
And then what do we do after the pack walk?
Go to the playground and
Go
then
to the
go
playground.
home.
Is that your favorite part?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, all right, guys. I think we're going to wrap this up. I don't think I have any more questions, but I appreciate you guys being here. Please like, share, subscribe so that more people can be helped by our podcast here. I appreciate all the love and support from y'all. When are your pack walks? Are they always the same time? Yes, they are. But you must have had some training with me. You must have a private lesson or a board and train with me. Then you can come to the pack walk. I only require one private lesson because I need to be able to make sure that you can walk your dog good. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it takes to be in our pack walks. And the pack walks are free because we like numbers. So book a session if you want to come. All right. I got you, Melissa. We're gonna hook up. All right. All right, guys. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. We'll tell y'all. We'll see you guys next week. And then hold on. Press the button, Reg. Yeah, press it.
There is a smell. It smells like a shit.
Do it again.
What the?
Do it.
Emotional damage.
Okay. That's enough. All right, y'all. See y'all later.
Okay.